Welcome to Industrial Technologies and Services in Ocala, Florida. Let me be the first to introduce myself to you. My name is Jason Dessler, the EHS Manager, and I want to thank you for choosing to join us at this great facility. I'm excited to present to you the EHS New Hire Orientation, so let's get started. During this presentation, we're going to take the next few minutes to discuss the safety policy, safety expectations, general PPE guidelines, safety observations, stop work authority, incident and accident reporting requirements, emergency response, and finally your safety training using Safety Hub. Although the Occupational Safety and Health Act requires employers to develop and implement a safety policy, we all know to succeed, the policy requires both a commitment and endorsement from Industrial Technologies and Services leadership, but also from the employees. It's important to everyone that we make decisions that always favor employee safety and health and the protection of our limited resources provided by the environment. So, let's review the 6 tenets of the Environment, Health, and Safety Policy at Industrial Technologies and Services in Ocala. While complying with the laws and regulations seems straightforward to everyone, it's worth reinforcing that we not only require compliance, but demand it. Our customers, shareholders, stakeholders, fellow employees expect it from us, and we're responsible to make it happen. Complying with the laws and regulations sets the tone, but completing your training on time is the first thing that you can do to remaining engaged in your own safety and health. Training demonstrates you know and understand the standards expected at Industrial Technologies and Services, but you need to do the work to complete the training. Every day we encounter risk. Some risk is easily managed without even thinking about it, while other risks are simply out of our control to manage. Each of us is to manage the risks that we can control to the lowest level possible. When in doubt, stop work and ask the tough questions about risk. It's okay to stop work. The resources on this planet are finite. We don't get more than we have. It's imperative that we limit our consumption to the share of our resources allowed for us. Nothing more, nothing less. Pollution is just not necessary in the world we live in today, and we're all responsible for preventing it. Pollution prevention is any practice that reduces, eliminates, or prevents pollution at the source. Reducing the amount of pollution produced means less waste to control, less waste to treat, or less waste to dispose. Less pollution means less hazards posed to you and me, the public health, and environment. Recycling of materials supports the repurposing and reuse of a material rather than trying to dispose of it. If there's still a purpose in the material, then we owe it to ourselves and our future to use it again. It's how we can meet the needs of the present population without compromising the ability of future populations. The final EHS policy tenet is number 6, reducing waste. If we don't use an excess, then we don't run the risk of generating waste. Here are some simple ideas that might jog your memory on how you can reduce waste at work and at home. Instead of printing hard copies of documents, save them to your hard drive or email them to yourself to save paper. Another idea is to make your printer environmentally friendly. That is, change your settings to make double-sided pages. Use smaller fonts and use the fast draft setting when possible to save ink. That wraps up the EHS policy portion of today's training. Work safely and protect the environment by complying with laws and regulations, completing your training on time, controlling the risks and hazards in your sphere of influence, prevent pollution, recycle materials, and finally reduce waste. Next up on the agenda is safety expectations. We've got great momentum, so let's keep going as we discuss safety expectations. Safety expectation number 1 is this: you are responsible for your own safety and the safety of others. No one will be more responsible for the safety of yourself than you. You can make safety happen throughout the workday. Number 2, all accidents are preventable. Immediately report unsafe conditions and incidents to your supervisor. Remember, if everyone is determined to prevent workplace injuries, and we believe they are 100% preventable, the odds are in our favor that injuries can't occur. Expectation number 3 is pretty simple. Understand and follow all floor markings, warning tags, and signs. These items are trying to communicate to you how to be safe. Pay attention to what they're telling you. Number 4, don't take shortcuts or join in horseplay or practical jokes. It's just not a good idea in a factory. Always follow the policy, rules, and procedures. Remember, the right way and the quality way are typically the same way. If you're not trained to operate it, don't do it. No one approves of performing work or operating equipment you're not trained to perform. It's okay to stop work instead of taking a risk in operating things you haven't been qualified to operate. Number 6 is very straightforward. It's your stop work authority. If you identify unsafe conditions that put you in imminent danger, report it immediately to your supervisor and stop work. You have the authority, and Industrial Technologies and Services expects you to exercise it when confronted with unsafe conditions that put you in danger. Safety expectation number 7 is that all guards, controls, and interlocks must be in place and working before operating your machinery. This condition is life-threatening. That means the result of missing guards, controls, or interlocks typically mean life-changing injuries. Keep guards, controls, and interlocks installed to protect yourself and others. Prior to leaving your work area, make sure all equipment is in a safe mode. Think about what this could mean in your work area. Are compressed cylinders off when not in use? Are fire extinguishers properly charged? Are eye wash stations and electrical panels free of obstructions? Have you blocked egress or exit routes with your equipment or tools? Expectation number 9 seems pretty straightforward and common sense, but we need to talk about it. Use the right equipment and tools safely and properly for the job. Assess the risk before you approach your work. No one can appreciate a can-do spirit and a bias for action than Industrial Technologies and Services, but not at the exchange of your safety and health. Personal protective equipment is your last line of defense for safety. Always wear the designated PPE and dress appropriately to the potential hazards for which you're exposed. Tie back shoulder length or longer hair, loose or baggy clothing gets tucked in, and necklaces and ties removed before approaching the factory floor. Safety expectation number 11 is that cell phones and music earbuds can only be used in designated areas. These items can distract or prevent you from hearing critical warnings, sirens, or conversations, especially on the factory floor. Don't assume it's okay. Ask your supervisor first. Prepare and consume food only in designated areas. All beverages in the workplace must have a closed lid or cap. You're highly encouraged to stay hydrated and drink plenty of water regularly on the shop floor. Just keep a cap or a lid on it when not in use. Preparing and eating foods, however, is reserved only for the designated break room. Safety expectation number 13. Always use assistance or material handling devices for objects greater than 40 pounds. We try hard to keep the weight of material to the lowest possible, and we rely on you to make the right choice to use teamwork or mechanical assistance when the weight is not less than 40 pounds. The 14th and final safety expectation is that compressed air may not be used to clean dirt from your body or your clothing or used as a broom. When in use, face shields in addition to safety glasses are absolutely mandatory. Remember, compressed air means double eye and face protection. You'll find these safety expectations posted at the Communications Center adjacent to the break room. They're available for you to review anytime, again and again for understanding. For now, the safety expectation worksheet handed to you in this class needs to be signed before we move forward. Great job. That completes safety expectations for today's training agenda. Let's move on to PPE guidance. Personal protective equipment is the last line of defense in the presence of hazards that could cause you harm. If PPE doesn't work when it's needed, then there's a good chance you could get hurt when the hazard arises. PPE is selected because we could not find a solution to eliminate the hazard, making PPE the last line. There are four basic pieces of PPE at Industrial Technologies and Services. First is safety-toed footwear. While working on the floor, protective footwear is absolutely required. This footwear can possess either a steel or a synthetic toe cap.
Next is hearing protection. While some areas of the factory are louder than others, it's generally recommended as the safest approach by simply wearing ear protection anytime you're on the factory floor. It's required to be worn in welding, shipping, blast, paint when painting, and while using compressed air.
Any job that involves airborne particles or hazardous substances carries a risk of eye injury. Working around material that produces dusts or managing, say, a strap under tension which may suddenly release are added risks. Wearing eye protection appropriate for the task significantly reduces the risk of injury, which is why eye protection is required under all circumstances at Industrial Technologies and Services.
And finally, hand protection. We have more data at our fingertips than ever before, but simple hand lacerations continue to plague employees that don't wear the proper hand protection. Wearing gloves is non-negotiable when it comes to hand safety during manual tasks such as carrying materials or using chemicals.
Remember, safety footwear, hearing protection, eye protection, and hand protection. Now, let's move on to the next segment of the training agenda called Safety Observations.
Safety observations are the ideal method to observe safe or unsafe conditions, as well as safe or unsafe employee behaviors. Just like a space shuttle launch, it's nice to know that with all of the activity going on around you, that we can watch out for one another to make each day a success. As with any successful organization, the daily whirlwind can cause us to get distracted. We don't even know an unsafe condition may exist, like an unserviceable fire extinguisher, or we're exhibiting unsafe behaviors, such as safety glasses on the forehead. Safety observations are useful in getting us back on track.
Every day we observe and communicate with one another how to improve our work areas and do so safely. But we do require a minimum of one documented observation each month using this form. Many of you have computer access and may complete this form electronically and directly to your supervisor or myself. A safety observation can be made about a condition or a behavior and can be made for good conditions or behaviors observed or for those conditions or behaviors that you think might need improvement. For instance, an employee operating a forklift with a seatbelt on, driving carefully, and honking at intersections is a great example of safe behavior. In this case, use the form to document your safe behavior observation just like you see on the screen. Once your observation is completed, turn it in to your supervisor. Here is an example of a safety observation where I thought improvement was needed. I saw an employee picking up pallets, but doing so without the proper hand protection. Rather than just writing it down and turning it into my supervisor on the form, or worse yet, walking away from the employee performing the unsafe act, I worked with the employee to get them the correct PPE. In this case, I simply handed them my gloves to allow them to continue to do the work safely and without interruption, while I went to get another pair from supply. The form on the screen is how I documented the safety observation. Easy peasy.
That concludes safety observations and how to complete the form. Next is the important component on the training agenda called Stop Work Authority. Stop Work Authority means that all employees have the authority, responsibility, and obligation to stop any task or operation where concerns or questions regarding the control of employee safety exist. We all have this authority. Stop work authority means no work will resume until all of the stop work issues and concerns have been adequately addressed. Additionally, it also means that any form of retribution or intimidation directed to the employee reporting or exercising this authority will not be tolerated. That concludes the stop work authority on the training agenda. Next up is the very important incident accident reporting. In the event you encounter a work-related injury or illness, there are some very easy steps. But first and foremost, the important step is to notify your supervisor or a member of management of the injury or illness right away. Once you've notified your supervisor or a member of management, the rest is pretty straightforward, and your supervisor or manager is going to assist you with this. If you feel medical attention is needed, there are providers listed by SPX Flow below and are available for prompt, efficient, and high-quality medical service. This posting is available outside Human Resources on the bulletin board. On it, you'll find the 2 locations where you can receive help for occupational-related injuries or illnesses. Remember, it starts with notifying your supervisor or a member of management. They'll help you from there. There are a number of different emergency scenarios that the facility plans and prepares for. Additionally, you'll be involved in drilling of some of those scenarios in order to make sure that we practice correctly. The next action item is emergency response. In case of fire or medical emergency, you can dial directly 911 from any plant telephone. If you choose to use your cell phone, don't forget to solicit some help from coworkers to direct the emergency responders to the emergency location. This is a big facility. In the event that an injury requires first aid, we do have a team of first responders in the facility. Notify your supervisor that first aid is needed, and they will dispatch a first aider to your location. When the fire alarm goes off, it's important that without delay, your immediate response is to evacuate the building and meet at the emergency assembly points located at the front of the building. Pick any exit, but meet at the front of the building for a head count at the emergency assembly points. Here's an emergency alarm. All training for monthly safety training is accomplished using Safety Hub. All employees are entered into Safety Hub. For those with an email, they'll receive a notification via email that they have safety training available. Simply click on the link, complete the training. For those employees without computer access, you'll still complete the monthly safety training, but in a group setting with other employees present. We'll simply use the employee roster sign-in sheet to demonstrate completion of the training at the end of the month. When you receive your email notification of training and you click on the link, you'll be forwarded to the Safety Hub automatically. Simply click on the course that is showing not completed. In this example, all of these courses have been completed. Had they not been completed, you could click on the course and begin the training. Remember, the basic safety expectations that we discussed earlier means that you're required to complete your training on time. You have a month to do your monthly safety topic. My suggestion is don't delay, get it done right away. There you have it. That's the Safety Hub. Congratulations, we have just completed the EHS training agenda. We've discussed safety policy, safety expectations, PPE guidance, safety observations, stop work authority, incident accident reporting, emergency response, and finally the safety training Safety Hub. One final housekeeping measure. Please take the time now to review your safety expectations and complete signing the form. Also, don't forget to take the learning verification at the end in order to receive credit for new hire orientation training. Thank you. Have a great day.